Dearly beloved Seventh Adventist Christians, it is our privilege at Hope International to bring you this careful study on the three angels' messages. As we have said before, we have with us Dr. Colin Standish on my right and Dr. Russell Standish from Australia on our left. We've already discussed the first angel's message and the second angel's message. And now, before we begin the third angel's message, I'm going to ask Dr. Colin Standish if he will quickly summarize the first angel's message, and then Dr. Russell Standish will quickly summarize the second angel's message before we begin to study the third angel's message together.
The first angel's message is a message that will go to the whole world. It's a message that has four intrinsic parts to it, and we explained those last night. The first is fear God, which opens up the great vista of Christ our righteousness and God's power to give us victory and to walk in all His ways and to follow His statutes and His commandments and to love God. The second facet is give glory to Him, which means that everything we do is directed to glory to God rather than to glory to ourselves. And we saw the great health message as part of that message. The third aspect of it is the judgment hour message, the investigative judgment, which opens up not only the judgment message, but the whole of the sanctuary message, the issue of the second coming of Jesus, the close of probation, the atonement, the issue also of the state of the dead. And finally, the fourth segment deals with the creatorship of God, creation, the Sabbath, the sign of sanctification, the seal of God, and the fact that the Sabbath is the final test of loyalty to God's people. So it's a dramatic introduction to the three angels' messages.
Russell, would you please quickly summarize the second angel's message?
The second angel's message declares that the churches of Babylon are fallen. Those churches have denied every one of the principal features of the first angel's message. They do not truly fear God, for they are not obedient to God. They do not give glory to Him, for they do not believe that a true, perfect Christian character can be formed on this earth. They deny the tenets of the judgment hour message, and of course they have desecrated the holy Sabbath day, and in many cases have denied the creatorship of Christ as set forth in the book of Genesis. Therefore God says they are fallen. That is the wine of her fornication. And God, in warning and in love, is calling men and women away from that form of apostasy that has denied the very tenets of His last message.
I'd like to read to you from early writings on 277 this important statement. It says here, the message of the fall of Babylon is given by the second angel is repeated with an additional mention of the corruptions which have been entering the churches since 1844. The work of this angel comes in at the right time to join the last great work of the third angel's message as it swells to the loud cry. And the people of God are thus prepared to stand in the hour of temptation which they are soon to meet. I saw great light resting upon them, and they unitedly and fearlessly proclaimed the third angel's message. So we know the angel of Revelation 18 will join the third angel's message, and we're going to discuss that today. Also, we must remember in Selected Messages Volume 2 on 104 and 5, we are told that before there can be a third, there must be a first and second angel's message again. We know that the first angel's message came to the church in 1843 and 1844, and before there can be a third angel's message sounding, there has to be a repeat of the first and second angel's message. We read this. It says, the proclamation of the first and second and third angel's message has been located by the word of inspiration. Not a peg or pin is to be removed. No human authority has any right to change the location of these messages than to substitute the New Testament for the Old. The Old Testament is the gospel in figures and symbols. The New Testament is the substance. One is essential to the other. The Old Testament presents lessons from the lips of Christ, and these lessons have not lost their force in any particular. The first and second messages were given in 1843 and 4, and we are now under the proclamation of the third, but all three of the messages are still to be proclaimed. It is just as essential now as ever before that they shall be repeated to those who are seeking for the truth. By pen and voice, we are to sound the proclamation, showing their order and the application of the prophecies that bring us to the third angel's message. There cannot be a third without the first and second.